Welcome to this update from the RJI Futures Lab. I'm Ruben Stern. This week we're in Los Angeles, where we bring you a recap from the annual conference of the Online News Association, including a view of where journalism and technology are headed in the future. The annual conference of the Online News Association brings together digital journalists and leaders from all types of news media to share expertise and prepare for the future. On display this year were all the latest storytelling gadgets, including drones, sensors, virtual reality, 3D images, 360-degree photo and video, automated data tools, and wearable technology. In this report, we'll walk you through 5 key takeaways from the conference, and then we'll get a look at some tech trends on the horizon. First, news is clearly a multi-platform business, but that no longer involves just pushing out the same content to different devices. It now also means tailoring the news specifically for different social channels. Audiences now expect to find information delivered directly in platforms like Instagram, Vine, Snapchat, Tumblr, and Pinterest. And each platform has its own unique characteristics for what will succeed.
Every now and then there is a story or a moment that does find its own natural way on every platform, and there are other stories where it's just going to feel better for Vine and Tumblr than Facebook and Twitter.
In future updates, we'll bring you more specific guidance from conference presenters on what works best for each platform, but for now, the key is to make sure your journalism matches the personality and the format of the platform where it's delivered. Similarly, smart news organizations are focusing heavily on the user experience. That means asking ourselves which exact user need or problem will be addressed by every app, website, or even individual story that we create. This user focus also means paying close attention to how people use their devices and live their lives, so we can make journalism more useful within those patterns. The needs of millennials in particular were a big focus.
You both have the issue of knowing how to do things, and then if you get into the world late, behaviors have already been set, habits have already been set. It's very difficult now, for example, if you're a new app, to kind of get into these environments and get enough of an audience. So, we're a big believer in getting in early and experimenting and getting a footprint, and that's a competitive advantage.
The talk about video included new advances in 360-degree cameras, plus the question of which kinds of video work best online and across mobile and social platforms. A key point on this is to remember the use case. In other words, someone watching video on a smartphone wants the story to be short and probably won't have the audio playing, so strong visual narratives and on-screen text become essential. It also means mobile video should change to vertical in the near future.
As a reporter, you basically have a supercomputer in your pocket now that you can use as a mobile capturing device. So whether you're shooting photo or video or now a 360-degree panoramic image.
The conference program reflected the ongoing popularity of audio from streams and podcasts. New technologies offer recommendations, customized playlists, and consistent listening experience that transfers from sitting at a desk to being on the go via foot, train, or car.
If you come in 20 minutes into a show, you should be able to skip back to the beginning, for example. If you are live streaming, you should be able to pause that live stream and save it for later, and then be able to seamlessly pick it back up. When you want, you should be able to have a queue of your shows. You should be able to search.
Just as most newsrooms are getting a handle on measuring digital traffic, the next frontier is understanding the kind of impact the work is having in the real world. Multiple panels focus on pushing past the numbers to understand better what people are doing with the information we provide them.
So every second we're sort of asking this question of, do we think the person is reading right now, aggregating that time up and then reporting that back and saying, okay, in total, in this, for this page view, this person spent 45 seconds reading, this other person spent 5 seconds, and this other person spent 2.5 minutes.
A final piece of this year's conference was an annual tradition, the overview of emerging tech trends from futurist Amy Webb. We had a chance to talk with her one-on-one about some of the exciting technologies coming soon.
Every year there are 10. Now we're researching hundreds of different trends at any given moment. And they're all really, I think, exciting, sort of game-changing trends. The most exciting trend, I think, has to do with the metaverse. The great opportunity is in immersive storytelling. The great challenge is that most newsrooms are not set up to pour resources into immersive storytelling. A couple years ago at Mobile World Congress, there was a startup called Leia, as in Princess Leia. And they had a demo of a prototype that produced a hologram. This was an actual hologram using backlit LCD screen technology. And it blew everybody away. This doesn't require that you buy a device. So you'll never be able to buy a Leia 3D gizmo. this is the screen technology that will be built into our car dashboards, it'll be built into our phones, probably into some of the tablets about 2 years from now. So this will no longer be sort of a kitschy thing that we all sort of giggle at. This will be part of our experience. Torrent files are distributed without a central server, which is why people, not saying it's me, but some people like to use them because it's hard to trace back who the person was, and basically the network grows or shrinks depending on the number of users. So those same people have launched something called Project Melstrom. It's direct browser-to-browser connectivity. And so content doesn't live on any central server. It lives where you've published it on the browser. What's compelling about that is that, especially in countries where press freedom has become more and more difficult, places like Turkey, for example, it's been a bad year there, this would effectively prevent the government from ever shutting down a news organization. There are some challenges, like if somebody's publishing false or inaccurate information, there's no one place that you can correct it, so it becomes a little bit more difficult. It's a new web standard that is being promoted by Google, and it's a lossless video standard. So basically, again, it goes through the browser, and it really is stunning. I can connect to you just with a browser, no software, no Skype, no Google Hangout, and immediately have a video chat. And there's no lag. I mean, it's like you're right there with the person. Last year, I talked about algorithmic reporting, so bots. This year, I'm actually talking about robots, real robots. And you'll start to see them in hotels first. And if you dial up room service or housekeeping and you need a towel or something, it will navigate itself on its own to your room, alert you that it's there, deliver what you need. It's really cute, too. That, I think, doesn't have an immediate use case for newsrooms, but to me, what it signifies is the changing relationship that we have to automation. So the Beam is a telepresence robot. And so you operate it either using a joystick or the cursors, the arrow keys on your computer, and you're able to control it and manipulate it and drive it basically wherever you want it to go. It does not do stairs, I've discovered, but it does open doors. It seems silly, like a gimmick at first, and then you just get a greater sense of presence of that person being there. When you have a robot and that person is operating it, and they're following you around wherever you're at, it just changes things. I will also say that I think that they could be good virtual reporting assistants. I don't think it would survive a firebomb or something. And maybe in situations where there's a lot of chaos, I don't know if it would be more of a distraction or whatever, but it takes great video. One of the things that I talked about last year was the Watson cognitive computing platform. So they are in the process of rolling out a really sort of fascinating part of the platform that does character and personality assessment. So, for example, you could upload your resume. So what does the baseline resume look like for people who have been hired at that company? What's the language? What are the keywords used? What's the, if we could reverse engineer this, what would it look like? It will then rewrite your resume in the tone, the voice, using the keywords and everything else without obviously lying about what's on it. My thought is that this can all will be used to personalize news content. So a reporter might write a single story and then it runs through a cognitive algorithm, and depending on the recipient, there would be potentially, N versions of that story, where N is maybe, 100,000. And there are subtle changes, in terms of length, structure, size, the words that are used, so that it really is personalized, for that individual reader. There are some incredibly cool recognition algorithms that people are playing with that can do things like look through your Instagram photos and suss out what you tend to take a lot of photos of. There are some really interesting new algorithms and new experimental research that's treating our faces in different ways. They produce heat in a unique way. And so there are new technologies that in pitch black can identify not just a person, but literally you as a person. So there's another research team based in India that is logging keystrokes. And it turns out we all type in very unique ways. And so they're able to use our keystroke habits as a unique biometric identifier. So it's another way we can recognize people. You know, that's a new opportunity for journalists. We don't think about using photos or biometrics to data mine to do investigative reporting. So that's a huge new field. It's waiting to be explored. But it also presents some serious privacy concerns, and is another reason for news organizations to have a conversation about, again, what do we do with this information now that we know we have it?
Along with this video, you'll find links to more in-depth coverage from the conference, including the slides from Amy Webb's presentation. And we'll bring you more insights from the conference in future updates. And that's it for this report from the RJI Futures Lab. From Los Angeles, I'm Ruben Stern. We'll see you in the future.